Attorney of Warren County. First and foremost, I want to thank all law enforcement for everything that they did. For all the victims of Mr. Burham's crimes, I want to thank law enforcement. And from all of Warren County, I want to thank all the law enforcement that showed up and helped us with this unfortunate situation. As a result of Mr. Burham escaping, Mr. Burham was charged with escape. At this time, he is the only person that has been charged. He is charged with a felony escape, and his preliminary hearing is the next hearing that will be scheduled. That hearing it was scheduled on July 26th, next Wednesday, but it's been continued by defense counsel, and we don't have a certain date for that yet. Defense counsel requested continuance. At this time, in regards to the investigation, at this time, there are no other individuals, inmates, staff at the Warren County Jail or others who have been criminally charged regarding the escape. The City of Warren is early in their investigation, and it may take some time to complete. However, yesterday I began to receive reports from from the City of Warren Police Department. In those reports, there was information that could possibly implicate inmates at the Warren County Jail, that could possibly, and I emphasize possibly, implicate staff members at the Warren County Jail, and possibly others. The Warren County staff could be held criminally liable members if they were, we have no evidence that I've seen yet that they participated or were complicit with Mr. Burham. However, if they were criminally negligent, if they were negligent in their duties to make sure Burham or other inmates did not escape, they could be criminally charged. The controlling statute is 18 PA CSA 5121B as in Bravo. As a result of my review of this evidence and the possibility that staff of the Warren County Jail, a lot of whom I consider my friends, could be held criminally negligent and charged criminally, and also due to the fact that I'm on the Warren County Prison Board. This morning, I sent an email requesting the Attorney General of Pennsylvania to take over the prosecution of Mr. Burham's escape charges. I will continue to maintain and prosecute the kidnapping charges. I've asked the Attorney General of Pennsylvania to assume jurisdiction and prosecution of Mr. Burham with the escape, and to charge and prosecute any other individuals that may have been involved or negligent with regards to Mr. Burham's escape. This does a number of things, but number one, it's going to show no impropriety. Because Warren County is a small town, and being the DA and knowing most of the jail personnel, I've made that decision, and I think it would be appropriate. The Attorney General, because it was this morning, has not responded to my request, but I assume that they are going to take jurisdiction in these matters. That's all the information I have at this point, but I'm willing to take questions.
DA Greene,
yes, sir.
Drake Clark from News Nation, knowing that you have this information that possibly inmates and individuals that work at the jail may somehow be involved here, how do you continue to operate that jail knowing that you may have individuals on the inside who could very well face criminal prosecution for being involved in a remarkable escape?
It's an excellent question. Like I said, I haven't seen anything that shows that they were complicit or helped with the escape. It was mainly negligence issues, complacency issues, things of that nature. I can't imagine for the life of me that any of those jail guards that might be under investigation at this point wouldn't be straightening themselves up. So I don't see that as an issue. However, to make sure that there is no issue, I immediately, actually the next day after this happened, it was Friday morning after the escape, I called and talked to the Department of Corrections, Pennsylvania Department of Corrections, and asked them to investigate what was going on at the jail, what happened with the escape. It's my understanding that they started yesterday morning, and they have a team at the Warren County Jail to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Thank you.
What kind of charges could they face?
Well, the charges could range from anything because I haven't seen the entire investigation, but mainly what we're looking at is escape under 5121, and then possibly some type of criminal mischief for destruction of property, destruction of the fence that was broken through, any other destruction of sheets, things of that nature. Those are the two criminal statutes that I would be looking at mainly, but throughout the investigation, other charges may rise to the surface.
Yeah, Greene, have you had a chance to talk to Burham at all? I know he's in Erie County Prison, an hour away from here, but have you or anyone from your team had a chance to speak with him, and has he implicated anyone on the inside helping him?
With regards to speaking to Burham, no. My office has not, will not, and never has talked directly to a criminal defendant unless they are without counsel. So Mr. Burham does have counsel. He's currently represented by the Chief Public Defender. I have spoken with the Chief Public Defender, obviously, with regards to these charges, but I have not talked to him personally.
Mr. District Attorney,
Yes, sir.
Is there any indication that anyone knew yet about the bed sheets? Because that is the big question here. Besides the loose supports at the top of this thing, would anybody have knowledge of him collecting these bed sheets, and is that part of your investigation of it?
Yes, it is part of the investigation. No, I will not answer that question. I have no comment on that. That's something the Attorney General will have to address, but that is an issue.
Mr. D, you are on the DA board. You're the district attorney.
I am.
How disappointed are you to know that individuals that you call friends are possibly involved in this escape?
Well, I can't begin to tell you how affected I am by this. It's extremely unfortunate. I was talking to, I'm in close relationship with the district attorney from Chautauqua County, Jason Schmidt. Jason, I talked to yesterday, and the first thing I did was apologize on behalf of Warren County for letting him go in the jail. And he was extremely cordial, telling me I didn't have to apologize for all of Warren County, and we kind of laughed about that. We're working together to try to make sure that Mr. Burham never gets out of jail. With regards to the kidnapping charges, that has a 10-year mandatory or a 10-year max. With regard to the escape, a 7-year max. However, as you are aware, he is charged, or hasn't been charged yet, but he is a suspect in a rape and murder in Jamestown, New York. And we're going to work closely with the district attorney in Chautauqua County for that. Back to your question with regards to disappointed, I'm floored. I'm mad, I'm livid. It's not the way, it's beautiful here. I mean, look at what a beautiful country we live in, and a beautiful county we live in, and this kind of thing happens. We don't want this kind of light to be shed on Warren County. It's a great place to live and raise a family.
How common or uncommon does this treatment happen as opposed to a state attorney in cases like these?
I handle probably about 700 cases a year, straight up. My office handles about 700 cases per year. Referring to the Attorney General on a yearly basis, maybe 5 to 10 at most. So it's not an huge, uncommon, out of the ordinary practice, but it is rare.
What about the stashes that state police were telling us about, possibly in the woods, and also the possibility anybody was helping him, which I think the Lieutenant Colonel even alluded to over the weekend, if they could make the case.
Right. And that kind of, there are two parts of this entire investigation. First and foremost was the search. That took priority. That was handled by my first assistant, Cody Brown, who you saw standing up here looking pretty numerous times on TV. I was handling the escape charges and the internal with the jail. And I forgot your question.
Well, I was just saying about the stashes and the possibility of anybody helping.
Sorry, thank you. So the stashes have to deal with the search itself, and I have not seen anything with regards to the stashes that you guys haven't reported. That's where I got my information on that. I've stayed completely out of that search investigation, so I can't answer that question.
So that would be the Attorney General's purview, you would think?
Attorney General, I'm sure will look into that because, or strike that. The city of Warren is investigating the escape and the anyone that may have helped him at the Warren County Jail. With regards to assistance from outside, that case would be criminally investigated by either the city of Warren, depending on the location where it happened, Pennsylvania State Police, or closely with the Attorney General's office and my office, or it could be, or there are investigators with the Attorney General's office. But I would assume it would go to law enforcement of PSP's nature or the city of Warren.
Rob, is the preliminary hearing in the kidnapping case been rescheduled? I know it was supposed to happen last week.
Yeah, it was supposed to strike that. For the kidnapping case, it has not been rescheduled. Most likely it will be at the same exact time as the escape, and we don't know the date of that yet. It was scheduled. It is currently scheduled, if you look on the docket, for next Wednesday. However, it's been continued.
Rob, in your conversations with DA Schmidt, is it still your understanding that the pending charges in the case in New York State will proceed after the cases here in Pennsylvania?
I don't want to address the Chautauqua County case, but that's a logical conclusion.
Has he been arraigned on the escape charge?
Has he been arraigned? He has been arraigned on the escape charge. He was arraigned yesterday via video with counsel present at the judge's office.
You know what bail was?
Bail for both cases. The bail on the kidnapping charges was... I didn't do that. But bail on the kidnapping charges was revoked. Bail on the escape charges was denied. There is no bail.
Hang on 1 second.
All right. Can you rewind the video and see if I touched that or not? Me or...
It's rather windy here. It's like constant.
Good.
Rob, can
All
you
right.
explain a little bit? He was arraigned on a detainer, or he was picked up on the detainer. It's a federal detainer through the U.S. Marshal Service.
That's correct.
Is he looking at federal charges? How does that process
I'm
work?
not aware of him looking at any, he's going to be having to answer to any federal charges. I assume with capital bold underlined, I assume it's going to be similar to the kidnapping charges when he was on the run a month and a half ago in Warren County and fled to South Carolina. There was a federal detainer. That federal detainer was released when he got back to New York State.
Okay.
But you were saying about bail. Was there bail set?
No, bail was not set, and bail was revoked on the kidnapping charges. So he has no bail possible on both sets of charges.
And just clarify, you said, so there's no hearing date set, so no court appearances, I believe, has been set for its court hearings.
That is correct. There is a date set technically of next Wednesday, but there is no, but it's, the defense counsel has requested a continuance to review everything to be better prepared, and that date has not been set yet.
As far as you know, will there be any federal bureau of prisons for this site, or is this strictly the State Department of Corrections that's coming in to look?
Purely the state. Purely the state. Now, would that possibly change because there's some grandiose issue that they discover that I don't know about? Yeah, but that's extremely unlikely.
Going back to the escape, do you have any suspects who you may be looking more into?
Absolutely. No, I won't tell you that.
Rob, and talking with
Hence the reason why I'm calling in the Attorney General's office.
Can you tell me how many?
No.
Rob, in talking with the city and Chief Spraveri and everything, I know you said the investigation is going to take some time. Any timetable, or is it just going to take as long as it takes?
It's hard to say because any investigation, we tried to speed up this investigation because of who it was and what's going on and the safety for the public and that kind of thing. Now we can slow back down. That being said, who knows where this is going to lead? I do not know what Mr. Burham said, if he was interviewed on Saturday night when he was caught, if he gave information. I'm sure the city of Warren is investigating those leads at this point. So it's hard to say. It's going to be at least weeks, a month or more away. And I'll take two more questions because we want to get back to
At the very start, you did thank all law enforcement who
Yes.
actually took him into custody and did all the search.
Absolutely.
How grateful are you to the couple that actually were the ones who weren't a part of law enforcement, that actually had a bigger hand in it than probably some of the law?
You took my segue. Hey, that's all right. So we're down to one question. I can't thank these guys enough, and it's actually funny because I knew the name Ron Eklund, but then again, it's a small town. and you just, and when I talked to him on the phone, he said, "Oh, hey, Rob," like he knew me, and I didn't remember who he was. I used to hang out with Ron Eklund. Well, my cousin did, and I knew him from 20 years ago. So I got to meet an old friend.
One last serious
But
question.
thank you very much. Yes,
Sorry to ruin the segment.
that's all right.
But last week, when we talked to Commissioner Eggleston at that press conference, now I think he was talking about internal discipline.
Right.
He said that would be confidential
Yep.
if anybody from the prison staff.
Yep.
And again, I know you're going to hand off to the Attorney General's office.
Yep.
But would that be a matter of public disclosure? And what charges again could, if criminal negligence is perceived here, or determined here?
Yeah. Whether it's public or not, that it will be run by the commissioners and the prison board, which I am a member of the prison board, because I have, and they will have access to some information from law enforcement that we have after the prosecution. So what public information is going to be given out, that you'd have to talk to the commissioners with regards to their private investigation. The criminal investigation, as you know, we hold that stuff close to vest until the end of the prosecution, and then we're subject to right to know. And I try to be as transparent as possible, but at the same time, I got rules to follow, and I can't paint the jury.
Well, I'm
So
just saying, if that one criminal, if something's deemed on the part of the Attorney General, that will be publicized, names will be named.
if people are charged, absolutely. And